Hi, my name is Paul Shore, and you're watching another edition of The Street Speaks, a spontaneous speaker's corner for Montrealers, where I give you and your neighbors an unfiltered platform to express yourselves about anything in particular. Nothing is off limits. This week, Montrealers are sharing tales of coming out of the closet. Natives adopted by Jewish families in the 60s and 70s are sharing their amazing personal stories, and some are giving me an earful about our educational system and what needs fixing. Also, I've invited local performance artist Céline Bellaterreur up onto the Street Speak soapbox, where she will be discussing the interplay between beauty and feminism. And ahead, the Street Speaks band returns, Skinny Bros.
I use my music to do my speaking for me, because I have Idle No More, and then I have the other one, Please Bring Me Home, which I wrote for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That I wrote all about missing and murdered Aboriginal women and all that terrible thing where we have over 1,000 women that are just unaccounted for.
Well, Aboriginal women, I don't think that I don't think it's more marginalized. I think that awareness has been is rising, so it seems like there's more, but it's happened all along for 500 years.
And it just shows that you have women that weren't mothered properly, or their children were taken away from them, and those children were raised in the whole system, the foster system, and all that, and all, you know. So it's
we've always been sexualized. We've always been raped. We've always been taken advantage of.
When Harper said it's a sociological problem, yeah, but it's more than that. If 1,500 women disappeared from anywhere in Canada over time, you think people would just say, no.
It's a phenomenon, you know, like that. As a social worker, I hear that the reputation of many women in Montreal, they're easy, just get them drunk and you can, you know, have sex with them and they don't care. And unfortunately, that's what happens.
If it's not corrected, if it didn't happen with that first one, it would have been passed down and down and down. It just keeps, you know, it's a cycle that just keeps happening.
And it's not that they don't care, it's just with all the abuse that happens in our community, they've been taught that that's all they're worth, you know. So that's the work where the work is going to happen, is in our community, is revaluing, putting value back onto our women and our men and our children, you know.
Aboriginal people have suffered, and it's time that the Government of Canada went through the Indian Act, got all those chiefs together and said, okay, what can we do?
I'm strong in music, so that's what I use. And I do have a little bit of an outlet as well, being in radio. I can speak my mind here and there. I can get a little bit political. I mean, I try not to. My show is basically music driven, but I do like to make little jabs and give my opinion out as well when I can.
The concept of reconciliation is more about what you do. The apologies are good. The statements of forgiveness are very good, but it's more what we'll do.
And a lot of people try to get into politics, and they try to make their change that way. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening, as it's hard, because the intentions are there, but you're basically getting in and you're going to have to start criticizing your boss, and how many people are going to do that?
I hope that we are able to choose a leader who will surround himself with leaders who can basically say, this is what we can do differently as a country.
There's that inherent problem with it, is that you're getting your money from your boss. So how critical are you really going to be of your boss? You know, if there was a way to fund the AFN from other sources, non-governmental, that'd be cool. Then we could really, you know, we could really say what's on our mind, instead of trying to have to kind of play ball with the man, so to speak.
Be political.
Exactly.
Our challenge is to be able to say that next 200 years will be a great country with deeds, by correcting the mistakes of the past and devoting ourselves for a bigger purpose.
I'm very happy to welcome back to the show the Street Speaks house band, NDG's finest, Paul and Chris Carniello, otherwise known as Skinny Bros.
They always say grand, 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 grand. People I don't know me call me grand, grand. I'm the neighborhood grand, grand.
I was gonna call you Gram, honestly.
Everybody calls me grand, grand.
I feel like you're my grandma.
Yes, everybody, my neighbors, I pass the street, and everybody grand, grand, or mom, because I'm 30 years in this area.
What kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, the people in general should be closer to each other. So I have beautiful neighbors, beautiful neighbors. We don't go to sleep unless we check with each other, make sure we're there and we're still alive. Beautiful neighbors. And I find the young people will offer you help if they think you need help on the street, which is beautiful. They will stop to say, are you okay? I appreciate that very much. That I stop and talk to people, say hello, how are you, have a good day. It makes me feel good. I'm always willing to stop and say hello to anybody. That's my favorite. I can talk about to 12 people from here to my house and 12 to say, why do you say so long? I stop and talk. The little girls in this grocery store, I stop and talk to have a good day, you look nice today, a beautiful day. Always a kind word to say. This makes a big difference. People should be more close to each other, be kind, be helpful, be ready to lend a helping hand. People in need. Never too busy to stop to say, how are you? Have a nice day. Never too busy. Very important that you stop. Spread a kind word to somebody. You never know how far it will go.
I grew up in a really conservative family. My mom, my father, they're all Catholic. And when I was growing up, I've noticed that I was attracted by men, but I didn't know exactly what it was. Am I the only one who's attracted by men?
I told my parents that I was dancing when I was 14. And, well, of course, my dad had something to say about that. He doesn't really want his son to be a ballet dancer, you know? So it was quite hard for him to, because he asked me if I was gay, but at that point in time, I didn't really know.
And when I reached 17 years old, I met some other guy, and they told me, we know some other guy like you must meet them. And those guys actually told me that you are gay, you are homosexual, actually.
There's more than two of you,
Yeah,
trust me.
yeah, exactly.
You're gay.
Yes, very.
When did you come out of the closet?
Actually, I was 28.
Since he was born.
And yeah, since I was born, but the closet was locked. That's my friend.
Nice to meet you.
Since
Nice to meet
28. I was 28 years old, and now I'm 43, like I said.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
Actually, I gave myself a hard time. I was 17 years old when I came out. I was really drunk, and I called my mother, and she just told me she knew it, hung up on me. Well, not hung up, but bye, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Then
I love you, I'll
woke
see you tomorrow kind of thing?
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. And then I just woke up, and I was like, what the fuck did I tell her, right? And so I just woke up, and normal questions like, do you have a boyfriend? Have you had a boyfriend? Just the basic stuff, I guess.
So tell me, why did you leave your country?
Yeah, it's because of my sexuality, because many times I had verbal abuse, physical abuse, and I was quite scared because they could have killed me or put me in jail because the human rights is not really respected, so they can do anything. I'm gay, so I have no rights.
I think I kind of always knew, but it's kind of that thing where you have to kind of live what society tells you how you have to live. And then finally I just realized I'm gonna do it, and that's it. You get to a point where you're fed up, where you can't do it anymore. You have to be yourself.
When I was 17, I had a picture of me and my boyfriend on Facebook, and my dad, everyone knew, my mom, my sisters, my brothers, my aunts, but him. He was the only one that didn't know.
To be honest with you, as soon as I was old enough to tell, oh, this girl is cute or whatever, I was saying this guy is cute. So I would say grade 4 or 5 of elementary school. And in kindergarten, I told my mom that I really like this one guy, and she obviously knew what I was talking about, but she just said, keep it for yourself because people are mean and everything. So you can say it at home that you like him, but don't say it everywhere, So my mom was really supportive, and my dad also. So I guess I was pretty, pretty lucky.
He's seen the picture, and he literally called me in minutes after seeing it. And, well, he obviously had a little issue with me not telling him that I was gay. But he wasn't really angry at all, just the fact that he was the last person to find out. So, I mean, but they took it okay, I have to say.
Still loves you?
Yeah.
Was it a better reaction than you'd expected?
Yes. It was better reaction than when I told him I was dancing. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm not a criminal, I'm not stealing, I'm not killing. I'm not doing gay, but I am gay. So why hiding myself? I need to leave. I want to leave.
I'm very happy to welcome to the Street Speak Soapbox performance artist Céline Bellaterreur.
How can you say you're a feminist when you put so much importance on beauty and dress, well, sexy? The women's condition should not only be discussed amongst women. Men have to hear about it. And how do you get a man's attention? By being beautiful and sexy. So, look at me, I am good looking, and now we can talk. It may sound cliche, but this is how it works with men. Women have the right to dress as they please. Many women are sexy and intelligent. There's no doubt about that. It's fun to feel sexy. It's empowering. Women should feel no shame if they enjoy feeling beautiful or if they like to dress with a little panache. Sexuality is a form of power. It's important that women remain desirable so men find them attractive. No? Otherwise, there would be no more humans on the planet, and I know that for some people, this could be the best thing that could happen, but I don't think so. We, humans, we are precious beings. Deep down, men and women, we are all light and love, and everything. The joy, the sadness, the pain, the love that we feel have profound meaning to us all. We really all are interconnected, and we're here to grow in spirit, alone and as a community. So what's really important is not what you see, but what you think, and how you feel, and how we are with and to each other. And that should be, no matter how difficult, with kindness and love. So, judge not. And on that note, I wish you good luck, because you're gonna need it.
Here it is, here in a nutshell. Here's the dream. I don't know if I can articulate this as quickly as possible. The educational systems that we have not changed a hell of a lot since I was a child. You cannot put 36 kids in a class and have one person who we call a teacher make any progress with 36 children.
Education is formative. It forms young adults. I mean, it forms children and young adults. I mean, in a sense, you know, you talk a lot of people are scared about education as this institution that brainwashes children. And in a sense, yes, I mean, everything we do influences children.
That's why they introduced standardized tests. And standardized tests, what does it do? It tries to make everybody the same. Well, screw that noise. We got no time for this shit. Everybody's an individual. Every human being that comes in here is not a tabla rasa.
We should be teaching kids a little about spirituality, philosophy, anthropology, basics, stuff, important stuff. You gotta start at a young age, basics of questioning who you are as a person, like what are we here for? There's no importance in that. We're just teaching kids how to go through this system.
Changes in education are very important, and I think as much as I enjoy teaching, what we decide to teach them and how we decide to teach them is incredibly important.
I mean, I understand how it kind of works. You're trying to pass as most kids you can through the system so they can join the workforce, but I feel like there's more important things that you got to stress on.
What you choose as your subject matter and what you dismiss is in itself showing a certain bias.
And everybody comes in here with the need to learn, to understand, and to live in community with each other. It's the golden rule that we have to follow. To do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
You have students coming out of secondary 5 who've never heard of what's going on in the world. For me, that's a problem. So the subject matter and curriculum is important in that sense.
There's nowhere to go but change. And I don't see it changing unless we can free our children who will grow up as individuals, have a sense of their own being, know what it is they want to do. People don't want jobs. They want meaningful work, for Christ's sake.
You're not alone. A lot of men, women, they've been persecuted because of their sexuality, especially in Africa, the continent.
In Africa.
What would you say to the people back home? Or you can't. There's nothing to say.
It's really hard because people back home, they're so how do we say ancré? Ancré, that's in French back home.
The people who are uncomfortable, I guess. That's kind of their problem because obviously they're living in a more sheltered environment than the people who are comfortable. People who are comfortable with gays and lesbians, transgender, all of that, are people who are open-minded, obviously, and who have, obviously they might have someone in their family, in their lives who are that, so they've had no choice but to accept it.
In English, I don't know how to say
Entrenched?
that. No, I say entrenched, yeah. In religion and culture. So it's really, really, really hard. I really don't know what message you need to give them.
Stupid as it may sound, I don't ask you who you sleep with in your bed at night, so you shouldn't bother who I sleep with, right?
I would never walk into somebody's space or home and say, you shouldn't be living this way. Who am I to do that? So who are they to step into my world and tell me?
Religious leaders who must do something for that, knowing that gay people are also human, and we all created by God, and we deserve, the right to live our life.
You are with women, you are with men, vice versa. It's whatever. I just let people live their lives.
Waste of time.
It's a very big waste of time to sit and judge people on their sexuality, on their gender. So what? It is what it is.
We have to be more open to gender issues. Tell your children, you know what? It's about love and partnership. If you love somebody, it doesn't matter.
Because we're not actually harming anybody. If I'm in love with a man and I'm happy, why should it be, bothering, the next person? I really don't know why. So.
Live and let live, like I said before. What difference does it make to anybody what this one is doing, what this one's wearing? So what?
I'm very happy to welcome back to the show soapbox veteran, comic extraordinaire, Jess Solomon.
In Canada, by law, we're required to have a certain amount of Canadian programming on TV, in magazines, on radio. It's like the government is that kind of parent who's like, I don't care what the kids say, you're special. You're gonna have your own Canadian iTunes, your own Canadian Netflix, your own Canadian HBO. And Canadians are like, yo, how do I sneak out of this house and score me a sweet American IP address? Not too long ago, the CRTC, the regulatory body that watches this stuff, came down on 3 porn channels for not broadcasting enough Canadian porn. Our tax dollars at work. And I get it, you know, I've seen porn. I know that Canadian is not a popular channel. There isn't a lot of it. So I wanted to help out because I'm a patriot and I don't want people with a Canadian fetish to go unsatisfied. So I've come up with some Canadian porn titles to share with you. Here we go. Is that a boom in the frame or are you just happy to see me? Rick Moore Anus. This hour has 22 midgets. And of bareback stables. Kids, do it in the hall. Newfound landing strip. Zamboners 3. Inuk shook you all night long. Sharon Lois and 1. Bam, thank you, Bram. Poutine it in.
Why did you and your family move to Montreal?
They didn't. I was adopted by a Jewish family, so I'm a Jewish Indian. Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom. Well, that was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
What happened was in the 70s, during the 60s scoop, where the government wanted to assimilate us, the English the English social services in Montreal were run by the Jewish Family Services.
Because back in the day, and this is part of the 60s scoop, back in the day, the social workers were very much, you know, assimilation. So changed her name, put her into Hebrew school, introduced her to the beauty of the Jewish culture, which is a beautiful culture, but forget about her nativeness.
So I think that's what happened. I think that's my explanation. I don't know if I'm right or not, but my opinion is that because it was run by the Jewish Family Services, the English part, there was a lot of families that were looking, I guess, to adopt, and we were available, courtesy of the government.
I had a blonde brother and a blonde sister, so it was very apparent. And my parents weren't sure about the cultural difference, so they'd be like, just tell people you're Israeli. Didn't work out so well.
And my parents didn't know that I was stolen. They had no idea. They just they saw me in a catalog, and they picked me out, and I arrived in Montreal. I was almost a year old.
When did you find out you had native roots? When did that?
I knew. I was adopted at 3, and I used to tell everyone I used to live in a teepee. I never lived in a teepee, but I always knew. It was just something that I don't know how I knew. I just did.
Being adopted, it's a challenge. It was a challenge.
Tell me what it's like.
Well, I realized I was kind of different when I looked at my dad. I didn't look like him at all.
Was he like an Ashkenazi Jew?
Yeah, almost,
Sephardic?
maybe not, but he's white Canadian, and my mom's Filipino, so I kind of look like her. Not even, both. I went to church with my grandmother on my mother's side, and went to synagogue.
Not confusing?
Very, very.
My sister is homemade, so my parents didn't think they could have children, and then they found out that they could. They adopted my brother, and then they adopted me around the same time. My brother was adopted by Quebec. He's not native. I was the only one.
But I think my parents, they didn't baptize me, or I didn't do the baptism because how they saw it was they wanted me to choose for my own later on.
I left home at 18. The cultures didn't mesh very well, and I didn't feel part of the community, and I needed to find who I was. So I left home, I got my Indian status, I went to school with my Indian status, and I immersed myself into the urban Aboriginal community.
Do you have a relationship with your nothing?
No.
Over. Ended.
No.
So it ended poorly.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's so sad. So are you close with your adopted parents?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. They're both professors at Concordia, and
Tell me
it's weird when I say that because I'm like, why do I need to? But I think it's because I automatically feel like were they good people, and I feel like when I answer like that they're professors, it automatically gives people idea that I was raised in an educated environment, which is true, but they're much more than that. You know, like I played cello, they put me into cello lessons and stuff like that, and
they loved you.
They did. They do.
They do.
They do. Yeah. They put up with me.
That wraps up another edition of The Street Speaks. Thank you, Montrealers, for sharing, and thank you for watching. A special thank you to performance artist Celine Bellaterreur, who took to our soapbox, and to the Street Speaks house band, our street band, Skinny Bros. Our hashtag is StreetSpeaks514, and if you want to get in touch with me, don't be shy. I'll be filming again very, very soon, and I can be reached at the StreetSpeaks514@gmail.com, and I will reply. Join me next week as Montrealers are speaking out about art and graffiti in public spaces. A member of the Hasidic Jewish community demystifies so many of the stereotypes we have towards his people. And members of the Black Côte d'Ivoire community talk about their experience with the police. Also, more special guests on our soapbox return. See you next time.
My name is Jean-Claude Fouati, and you're watching The Street Speak.
Hey, thank you.
Pleasure.